Hi, so I wanted to start by saying thank you for the support from my first video on this channel, which was my baptism from August 2025, which was just last year. But I decided to keep this channel as an outlet to talk about things that are on my mind, like at the moment in particular, Christian masculinity. What is it and what does it mean to me compared to what I used to think masculinity was when I was younger and also before I became a Christian? But I would like to preface this to say that I'm still a new Christian, so I'm still learning. I may get some things wrong, of course, but I wanted to discuss what I've learned so far from Christianity, from reading the Bible, from going to church, and of course discussing these things through the fellowship of the great new friends I've made at church, and of course some of my own personal thoughts and opinions as they've changed a lot. Okay, so I'm in retrospect and let's get started. Okay, so when I was younger, I used to think that masculinity was just to be with as many women as possible, to dominate, to be loud, getting into fights and all that kind of stuff. But now I've come to realise that that's just acting like a child with no self-control or discipline. But now, since becoming a Christian, I have a very different view of this. I feel that a real man, whilst strong, also has immense self-control and discipline. And for example, would put his family first above all else and dedicate himself to them, also through self-sacrifice. I feel like the Bible backs this up as it explains that masculinity isn't just about dominance, aggression, or say types of cultural stereotypes, but instead men are called to be strong, but our strength tempered by love. Masculinity in the Bible is described as humility, self-sacrifice, responsibility towards family and community, and of course men are created in God's image with specific roles that complement women, promoting mutual respect and unity in Christ. Okay, so strength. Christian masculinity, in my opinion, is about being vigilant, firm and strong, but always through faith and compassion. Some of my favourite verses about strength are Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded to you, be strong and courageous, do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you through my righteous right hand. 1 Corinthians 16:13-14. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Let all that you do be done in love. Ephesians 6:10-11. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the faith of his might. Put on the whole armour of God, for you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. I absolutely love these verses because they're a call to men to spiritual warfare, but really emphasising our morals, but also balancing toughness through affection. Discipline. The Bible also teaches men to practice self-control, spiritual growth, but also explains that enduring hardship produces righteousness and builds character. Some verses I really like, which tell men that they must master their impulses and practice discipline, are 1 Corinthians 9:27. But I discipline my body and keep it under control. Proverbs 25:28. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Proverbs 16:32. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty. Again, touching on the spiritual warfare, every day there are times where we may be tempted, where we may be even under so much stress that we're losing our faith. But I think it's important to remember that through God, we're capable of achieving these goals that we have and staying true to our discipline and self-control, which I think a man without discipline and self-control is, like I said earlier, just like acting like a child. Family. I think it's beautiful how the Bible teaches men to love their wives and their families, but also to provide, protect and dedicate themselves to their families. Some of my favourite verses here, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. 1 Timothy 5:8. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old he will not depart from it. Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. This last section is specifically close to my heart because I spent my whole life not wanting a family, living as a hedonist, that just wanting to do whatever felt good. I didn't want to deal with any discipline or self-control. And I never wanted a family, but that's all changed. I've realized the errors of my ways, and through Christ I've learnt that. And so this section about giving yourself to your family, I think, is the most masculine thing any man can do, because it actually takes discipline and hard work. It's not something that's easy. So there's 3 sections that I've been thinking a lot about, and reading the Bible and praying and I guess, trying to learn more about all these different things. But the research for this has been really interesting for me, especially as a new Christian. But I feel that Christian masculinity is extremely important for all men to practice, to emulate Christ in all areas. This, of course, is extremely difficult in the fallen world that we live in today, but nothing worthwhile ever came easy. So I think it's important that we practice Christian masculinity with strength through love and, of course, discipline and self-control. And if I may, Romans 12:2, which I think explains this well: do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So I think that this is a really powerful thing for us men, Christian men, to learn and to practice daily. But thank you so much for joining me through this journey of Christian masculinity. I am excited to continue to make videos about things and Christian topics that are on my mind, but I hopefully will see you soon. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God gave us a spirit, not Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My eyes are watering up here. Okay, come on, control, self-control, we got this.